So this is a warning directly from the FBI that went to mainstream media. It's fascinating and terrifying. It went through what happened during the telecom hack.
Yes.
So if you didn't know, TLDR, too lazy didn't read, China hacked American telecom companies, big ones.
Yeah.
Targeting a massive
Do we know
amount of
which
people.
ones?
I guess Verizon was one of them. There's a couple other ones, but they're slowly coming out with what.
I guess they've been trying to not let that information
what
get out.
company's gonna want that?
Yeah, they're like, hey guys, we got hacked by China.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole country got hacked by China, and it was such a big deal that people didn't realize how big of a deal it was. And now that these articles are coming out, we're finally starting to grasp and start to figure this out. And now we know we have direct advice from Department of Justice that is telling us what you need to do now, right? And I'd like to read some of this advice because this is beneficial to everyone here watching our show, anyone in America in particular, because America was hacked.
Yes.
It says, and you can read this.
In a surprising twist, the FBI, alongside CISA, has suddenly warned iPhone and Android users to use encrypted messaging and calls where available. This follows an extensive US telco network hacking campaign attributed to China's salty typhoon, with officials warning of a broad and significant cyber espionage campaign. While a senior FBI official assures that although hackers have stolen a large amount of records about where, when, and whom individuals were communicating with, he assured that for the most, these stolen records do not include voice or text content. But hackers did steal call and text contacts from a limited number of individuals.
But we'll get some more info on the next slide.
Okay.
This is important. This is actually really, really important. Because think about it, this is transparency. This is what living in a free country is all about.
Yeah, you don't have shame shields.
You don't have shame shields. We can actually look at what happened. You guys can make informed decisions.
Dude, you know,
about what
sometimes I kind of, sometimes you see some of those protesters, and in my mind, I'm like, you know, a shame shield could be really, really nice right now.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know what? It's their right.
No, of course.
Yeah.
And I support that. But at the same time, you know, in my fantasy world, I don't want to see your vulgar ass sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
There's some pretty vulgar ass signs.
We got to support
Just
it no
gotta
matter
say,
what.
yeah.
I may not agree with you,
I agree.
but I defend your right to do it.
And I agree with you there. I'm just saying.
This seemed a surprising move from law enforcement, given past frustrations that end-to-end encryption left agencies in the dark, unable to access user content even if court-ordered. Even Apple, Google, and Meta cannot access user content that's end-to-end encrypted on their platform, but the FBI actually referred to responsibly managed encryption, which implies some form of lawful access. The key advice is simple. Don't use basic network text messaging, including RCS, where those texts are not fully encrypted. This rules out Apple's new RCS option for messaging Androids, albeit when messaging within iMessage to other Apple users or other Google messages to other Android users is secure. Continue.
Yeah,
There's a couple more of these.
All right. Before we continue, I did want to make a point, and I've aired this publicly. What kind of a ridiculous situation are we in where a foreign government or a foreign country can hack your phone to find out who you've been talking to, who you've been texting, and the contents of that potentially? And it's a nationwide thing that affects everybody.
The whole country.
Everybody.
America.
And yet people are like, nah, I'm chill with that because I can get my cheap plastic tat off Temu.
I cannot believe there is complacency here.
Yeah, why is it that nobody's taking this?
I'm
why
sorry,
is it not a
but-
huge uproar?
Are you stupid?
Yeah.
Are you actually
Like, where's
stupid?
Jeff?
Or I should say, are you actually that selfish?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't care, but what about the whole independence and sovereignty of your nation?
And then at the same time, like, oh, China's doing great, like in green tech.
Green tech, and then puts out articles about it.
Yeah.
They just hacked your country, bro.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Why is everyone so complacent about this? Is it literally because they're like, well, Jeff's taking a Temu in the bathroom?
Cyber warfare is fine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, they're just endangering the lives of dissidents and human rights activists and various people and spying on me and my family
and government people that work in the government.
Yeah, that's all okay because I can get Temu. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Kind of annoys me. I'm pretty sure our audience isn't like that.
No. While messaging generated most of the headlines following the FBI and CISA warnings, it applies to calls as well. Most cellular calls are not fully encrypted and are at risk for interception, whether lawful or otherwise. It's network dependent. Using a platform like WhatsApp or Signal or FaceTime on iPhones resolves this. While such calling remains unusual in the U.S., and most of Europe. Travel around Asia or Africa, and you'll see many users default to secure calling given distrust of networks. So yes, use a encrypted app.
They're wrong. It's not the distrust of networks, it's the cost.
It's the cost.
Because to make a phone call over WhatsApp or whatever is free if you're on Wi-Fi,
Correct.
right? But if you used your cellular data phone, it's very expensive in African countries. I know for a fact they completely take...
There's probably a sprinkle of distrust of networks in there as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
not in the poor countries.
Well, I'll tell you, no, I think the distrust comes from people traveling from a developed country to a developing country. They're like, I can't trust this random Mumbai cell.org, you know? Because I know there's a lot of scams here from that point of view. But the locals, that's not their reasoning. It's because it's cost. But yes, if you make phone calls, try make them through WhatsApp.
Yes.
That's just a little bit of a PSA.
Or send messages.
Yeah,
get you and your friends on WhatsApp or Signal or any of the encrypted, end-to-end encrypted ones. Use FaceTime, right? If you have iPhone, use FaceTime.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, continue.
Sure.
This is the last one.
The last one's coming up, okay?
Yes. Just some good advice we wanted to give everyone, just because of the sheer insanity that happened.
Yes.
So what do you do now? Fortunately, timing is everything here, and Apple is about to release iOS 18.2, which for the first time enables iPhone users to change their default messaging and calling apps. This means that when you click call or message, it won't be the standard phone or iMessage app that opens. So you can have it run through WhatsApp or run through Signal. So you don't have to go, I need to open this app every time. Right?
That's not bad. That's pretty cool.
As Apple explains, in iOS and iPad OS 18.2 and later, a user may select an app other than Messages app to send instant messages. The system launches the default messaging app to handle when a user taps an IM link from another app. It also has told messaging platforms how to prepare your app to be a default messaging app, which is great.
Cool.
Good advice for Americans that are oftentimes a little behind on some
I'd say everybody, not just Americans.
But particularly,
you think China's not hacking your country?
For sure. There's some settings here. You guys can read this a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it says, especially if you're in a high-risk job or location, this is a big deal for you.
Yeah.
Obviously not as big deal if you're not. However, everyone potentially got hacked.
Well, the FBI's warning that substantial metadata was stolen in China's hack of U.S. networks is critical. That metadata means who you know, who you call, when you call them, and for how long. It's the same metadata available to Meta and others, and can be provided to law enforcement on lawful request. It is not captured by some platforms, such as Signal, in the same way. That said, unless you're in an especially sensitive or high-risk job or location, this is much less serious risk.
Than content.
Yes, than content, yeah.
Just to point out there, though, is that everyone was a potential victim here.
Yeah.
And I think there should be way more uproar about this.
Well, think about it this way, guys. You know when there's a true crime thing, right?
Yeah.
You read about this all the time. The police have to get like a warrant and a subpoena to get the call records, right? They have to go through a long legal process, and it has to be approved by a judge and all that. And then they're like, okay, you can get the call history records, and that's just like what time, not the actual contents. No. It's just like he phoned from this time. Right. China just got them all for free.
Yes, for free.
Without any judge.
For nefarious reasons.
Yeah. And for all those people who are like, our government spies on us. They get this information. They can get this. Yeah, get mad about that, but get madder about the country, the foreign country that actually wants your country to fail, getting all that stuff
it's trying to
for
weaponize
free,
this.
without any legal process, without anything.
Right.
Just
hacked.
China stole your data, man.
Yes. China hacked you.
And you're like, I'm going to go buy a cheap free 99 thing on Temu.
Yeah.
Maybe you should not. Maybe you should be like, this country just stole my data.
Yes.
And my grandma's data.
How is this not cyber
This
warfare?
country knows that I phoned my ex-girlfriend at 3 a.m. in the morning because I was drunk.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's not something you probably want.
No. This is weaponized information and data that was just hacked by an adversarial nation from China. You should be pissed off, and you should be reaching out to your congressmen and people in law to make something happen about this.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
Should you not?
I agree, 100%. The Royal Rumble is coming.
The annual The China Show's Royal Rumble is this year's main event.
Characters from The China Show come out one by one, and they bring their beef.
The first year, Jaunty had a great performance.
Great.
But he wasn't so lucky the following year.
Tractor bulldozed Ballsack for a stunning victory in year 2.
Winston, Jaunty's been looking for his second victory. But he's really, for lack of better words, pissed at the Haze Runner because he, in fact, is the fastest man in the world.
I'm the fastest man in the world. Nobody can stop me.
Not that wheezing maniac.
Also, don't forget, the new kid on the block, or should I say new brick in the wall, Mason, who's really angry with his neighbor Salte Waters, who plays his music too loud.
What a wonderful song. How come I've never heard it before?
It's been a little too much for Rick,
Wow, that's a little too much for me.
who's been replaced by Raging Roger. This is the feud of the year.
Join us at the Xiaoban Ho live tier to watch this year's main event, this year's Royal Rumble, as it happens with live commentary from Seamilk and Winston. You will be there and you will enjoy it. You will follow us, okay?
You'll follow me, okay?
Or you can support us at any other tier level to see it after it airs live.
Don't forget, you can gift patron memberships and bring the joy of the Royal Rumble to your family this season.
We'll see you in the ring on December 23rd at 5 p.m. EST. Be there or the frog gets peed on.